We have completed our project component 4 of designing loyalty first mobile application. So let me go give you a overview of our project, and then I'll start you demonstrating what we have done so far. Regarding this project, so now we have implemented the server using Java Servlet and Java Server Pages. Basically, our project will consist of one Java Servlet, that is login Java, and it will have other 7 Java Server pages. And a quick overview of these pages will be here. And now I'm going to demonstrate you how we have designed this Java Server pages and this servlet. First, let me start with login servlet. And yeah, so we have created this login servlet, and we are using this login as alias for the servlet to access the servlet. And basically this servlet will take two parameters, that username and password. When the user enters that username and password, it will read that as a parameter, and it uses Oracle driver to connect to Oracle DB, and that part is here. Like, first we'll register Oracle driver, and then we're gonna use Oracle connection string to connect to Oracle database, and we are using this username and password to connect to that Oracle database server. And then we have some query to fetch data from the database. We are using this select star from login to fetch the data from database. And if we get result in the result set, that means that we have that user. So we're going to print saying yes, we have a user, and we are going to return that customer ID. Otherwise we're going to print no, we don't have any user in that. So this is pretty much about this login Java servlet. Now let me go to the other components of project, which are like server pages, JSPs. Like, we have 7 JSPs. Let me quickly go through each of the server page. Yeah, so we have designed 7 JSPs here. So let me start with info JSP. So in this also the pretty much same code we are going to connect to. So we're going to read the parameter from the link, then we're going to connect to Oracle database using the credentials, and we're going to fetch data from the database. So in all these server pages, only the SQL query will changes, and rest everything is remain same. So for this JSP, we need to fetch customer name and the point sent by customer as per customer ID. So that is the query we have here. And when we execute this query, we're gonna get a result set, and we're gonna print that data what we have received in the output, and we are going to separate them using comma as a indicator, so that we can retrieve that data, or we can pass that using that commas. So that is pretty much about info JSP. Now let me go to transaction JSP. Here also we're gonna use the same set of code base. The only thing that changes will be the SQL query. Here we have used this select query to fetch the data from database using customer ID. And yeah, so we need to fetch all the transactions related to a particular customer. So we're gonna join two tables like transactions and customers, and we're gonna fetch all the transactions. The transactions will be in this result set. We're gonna iterate over the result set, and add every result to the output, and we're gonna print that output. And just to make sure, or to pass the data, we're gonna end that particular transaction with a hash, so that you can pass it using the hash. So that is pretty much about transactions. Then let me go to transaction details. In this transaction details, here also the same code. The only thing is SQL query. Here we are going to use this SQL query. We're going to join transactions and transaction products table, and based upon the transaction reference, we're going to fetch all the particular transaction related data, and we're going to add that to the output, and we're going to print it in the console. Now let me go to price ID JSP. Here we want to fetch the distinct price IDs from redemption history table that were done by particular customer. So this is the SQL query for that. And when you get the result, you same thing, like you're gonna add that result to the output printer, and print it in the console or in the web browser or client, from where you are requesting that server page. And we have this one more JSP support family increase. the same code, and the SQL query would be like will give that particular customer ID and the transaction reference. So we need to output the family ID of that particular customer, and the percentage we need to add to the family and the transaction points. So this is the SQL query, and we're gonna print the same in the console by executing that query. Apart from that, we have one more, yeah, family increase JSP. So this is the final JSP, and this essentially do the update job. So we need to update all the family members of a particular customer with some set of points what he earned by applying some percentage on that. So you execute that. Here in this JSP we're gonna use execute update to update the data in the database, and once the update is successful, you're gonna print the points were these are the points that are added to the family members of particular ID, and that will be printed in the output. So these are the pretty much about the JSP. And before I proceed to the next step, let me show you all the prerequisites we have done. So this is our Tomcat server, and in this Tomcat server we have a web apps folder where we have added one more folder called loyalty first. This is our main folder, and in this folder we have added all the 7 JSPs here, and we have one more folder for images as well. And in the web INF I have added that login class as well, so that when we start server and when we try to access from a client this server, it will give you the required results as per the input parameters what you pass. So this is pretty much about servlet and JSP. Now let me ask my friend to
Coming to the code of a project, we have like 6 activities. Main activity, in main activity we have the login page. Like when user clicks on the login page, we will this is the design for main activity .xml. And coming to the Java file, when user clicks on the login button, this function will be called out, and from the login servlet we will validate whether the customer details are correct or not. If the customer details are wrong, we will just toast a message that invalid username or password. But if the credentials are correct, we will just send the CID from main activity 2, in which we have the customer ID and name, and also his points. In main activity 2, this is the main activity 2.xml. This is a design for main activity 2 page. And coming to the code of this page, in this we will just fetch the details of that particular customer by using the CID which we got from the main activity. We will just update the text view 1 and text view 2, which has the name and also the points. Text view we will just show the name and points in the page, and later we will request the image from the local storage which we have in the server by using the CID. And when user clicks on the all transaction button, we will, by using the intent, we will just send the CID to the intent. By using intent, we will send the CID to the another page, all transaction page, which is the main activity 3. This is the XML for the main activity 3, in which we will show all the transactions. And coming to this code, we will fetch all the transaction by using the CID which we got from main activity 2. We will update all the transactions to the list, and we will update it to the spinner. And when user selects the option in the spinner, we'll show all the transactions here. And coming to the main activity 4, we will show the spinner which has all the transactions done by the user. And when user selects a particular transaction, this method is called, which is on item selected, in which in this we will get the details of that particular transaction by using the tref which we got from the spinner. And we will update all the text views which are like the date and then the name and also the point and quantity which we got from the URL, which is like, yeah, this. And coming to the main activity 5, we will get the price ID, which we will get all the price ID redemption details done by the particular customer, and we will update all the redemptions done by the user to the spinner. When customer selects a particular price ID, we will update the details. We will get the details of that particular price ID using the redemption details.jsp, and we will update all the, we'll show all the details of that particular price here by setting the text view and all. And coming to the last activity, which is our final activity. Here we will get the transaction details, uh, details of the particular transaction by using the CID and transaction ID which we got from the main activity 5, and we will show the family ID and family percent and taxation point by the above URL we got from there. And when user clicks on the add family point button, this particular function is invoked, and we will call this function with the CID and FID and also endpoints which we got from this method, and we'll just update the details to the database. Thank you.
Thank you, Shiva.
Request will be first sent to the Java servlet with the reference name login with parameters username and password, and it checks if the username and password are valid and displays the appropriate output as yes or no. Yes with the CID as 1. And then we have the info.jsp thing which displays the outputs, customer name and points collected by the customer. Mark Salim will be the customer name and points collected by the customer will be 511. And then we have transactions.jsp file which displays the output, transaction reference, date, points of the transaction and amount of all transactions of the customer ID, of appropriate customer ID. And the next Java server page will be transaction details, which displays the output, transaction date, transaction points, product names, product points and quantity of number of products purchased. Then the Java server page titled as price IDs will display the price IDs of respective customer ID. And then we have the redemption details Java server page, which takes the input parameters price ID and customer ID and displays the customer ID output as product output, price description, number of points needed and the redemption date and exchange center. The next Java server page titled as support family increase will take the input arguments customer ID and transaction reference ID and displays the output of family ID linked to the customer ID and the percentage of points that have to be allocated to the customer family and the total number of points. We have the final Java server page titled as family increase, which takes the input arguments family ID, customer ID, points to be added to the customer family accounts and the output output parameters will be the message indicating that the points allocated to the particular family members are updated successfully or not. Thank you.
Thank you, Aryan. So now I would request
Well, this is our app loyalty first, and this is our home page. Immediately after giving the customer credentials here and logging on, we'll get the main activity too. And here we can see all the transactions and transaction details and all. After clicking on all transactions, This page uses the info.jsp to fetch all the details of the customer, and then after clicking on all transactions, this uses the transaction JSP file to get all that reference and a date and the points of that particular purchase. And coming to the transaction details, it uses the transaction details transactions JSP to fill the spinner, and transaction details to fetch all the details like product name, points, and the quantity and all. And getting back to redemption details, here it uses the price IDs.jsp to fill the spinner, and redemption details JSP to fill all these details. Here we can get the product description and the number of points and the date of purchase and all. And getting back to adding some percentage to the family, it uses, so here it uses the transactions JSP to fill the spinner, and then the support family increase JSP page and a JSP file, and the family increase JSP file to get all these details like family ID and family percentage. So here we can add the family points. So we'll get this pop-up immediately after adding some points. So yeah, we are done with this. And this is the exit button. After
you.
clicking on the exit button, it will get back to the home page.
Yeah, this is our project, and thank you, Professor, giving us this project. And we have really enjoyed doing this project. Thank you.